Hey everyone, I had a lot of people asking me after the first video that I posted about the 28-day challenge with John, exactly who is John. And we had this recorded before that, but I kind of wanted to get the challenge started and get the fasting started so that I could show everybody. So this takes place before the 28-day challenge video, but it's more of an introduction to John and to what we're going to be discussing. So I hope you enjoy this. I edited it down a little bit for time. We're hoping to have it between like 8 and 15 minutes every episode, but this one we had like 40 or 45 minutes recorded. So I trimmed it down to just over 30 minutes. It's gonna be a little bit more that I'm adding this intro. But moving forward, you can kind of expect us to be between like 8 and 15 minutes. All right, thanks guys, enjoy. We want to give you an introduction of who we are and how we came up with or what we're going to do going forward. I'm not a health expert by any means. I just am somebody who's always been trying to lose weight. I've always been an athlete and playing sports, things like that, but always my weight was always an issue for me. And so I've gone through a lot of trial and error in my life to try to figure out what works best for me. A lot of the media that I consume is based around health and fitness. I'm watching YouTube channels, reading books about it. So it's a way for me to take the knowledge that I have learned and talk about it with John and whoever else wants to come on and talk about it. John, do you want to give everybody a background of yourself?
Yeah, I wouldn't really say that, at least I wouldn't call myself an expert in anything either. I just try and, over the years, have put my foot in as many doors as I can, and it's kind of led me to where I'm at now, which is really the only like certification or like expertise that I have is I've been a certified trainer for like 4 years. So that I would say I'm really good at, and completely knowledgeable about. But I've recently traveled into the realm of online coaching. I'm a professional natural bodybuilder, so a lot of the stuff that I do is, at least personally, is like physique and aesthetic related. So, but a lot of my clients that I work with are really just general population people. So it's kind of like Will said, just overall health, fitness, dieting, and working out for the average person, and kind of like what's the best way to go about that. And naturally, that's why Will comes to me a lot of the times when he has ideas or reads something new and kind of like just sparks interest. And some of the times, I don't know if you never met Will, you won't get this, but it can get pretty confrontational sometimes. So I was like, why are we going to go back and forth so often or with so many text messages? Like, either let's just get on a call, or like, this is actually something that some people might take something away from if they heard us talk about it. So
Yeah. Yeah, anybody who does know me knows that I can just like get on a topic for 4 hours and you'd be like, I don't want to keep texting you about this for 4 hours. It's the same thing over and over again.
yeah, like last week, Catherine was at work. My girlfriend was at work for like 8 hours, and she came home and was like, "What do you do? What'd you do all day?" And I'm like, honestly, for the past four of them, I was just answering Will's text. Like, it can go on and on. You should put like a screenshot up of like, if I just scroll through your thing, it's like you, then I get like one word in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll have to do that. I was washing my car that day, but it took me like 3 hours to
Yeah,
wash my car because I was like, what do you mean?
right.
How can you even say that? That's not right.
Yeah, and it's not even to say that the two of us actually agree, or at least we can like argue in a way that we find ourselves both on the same page, even though we don't see things completely eye to eye.
Right.
So it's not even like a matter of us just like going back and forth in terms of like, you're wrong, I'm right. It's kind of like, I see your point of view, but this is what I've seen, and then kind of interrelate everything and see how it all works as a whole.
Right. It's nice to have somebody who's like, it's also a passion of yours. So I can like, we're both very passionate about it, but at the same time have like a little bit differing views. And for me, what's most important is like, it's okay for everybody to have different views. I think like as a country and like as the world, like we need to start paying more attention to like our fitness and what we're eating and how that's affecting our bodies and how that's affecting our society and how that's affecting our environment and how it's affecting everybody around us. So like me and you can have a disagreement on something, but at the end of the day, like you're doing a lot more for the advancement of health and fitness and nutrition than, you know, a million other people who disagree with you that are just sitting behind a keyboard, like not
Right.
helping
Doing nothing
push,
at all.
yeah, not helping push people forward and things like that. And so it's good that we have a mutual respect for each other. Like I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist, but you know that I'm researched enough to like have the conversation with you. And I know that you are more of a, you know, you're more into the training side of it, but you're getting more into the nutrition side of it. And, you know, people asking you a lot more nutrition questions. I see your Instagram posts where you are well read on like peer-reviewed journal studies, and you're sharing that kind of content with your followers, and probably also, if it pertains to a certain client, like sharing it with that client. And I try to read through those, or if I see it and I'm like, that doesn't make sense to something that I've read through, but like, you know how journals are, like some of them, it depends on how you interpret the data.
Right. And how you portray it as well.
Yeah,
That's
but we're
kind of
both on the
kind
same
of
page there. It's like, that's important. We need to be paying attention to that rather than like, you know, your Uncle Steve who said he lost 18 pounds by eating cabbage soup for 2 weeks.
right.
Like,
Which isn't to say that like anecdotal evidence isn't also important, right?
right.
One of the
That's all
main
I have is anecdotal evidence.
right. And
Like that's me.
that's part of the
We
main
don't
reason
like,
that we
we're going to disagree on things because like you're reading things and saying like, oh, this is like what I'm reading. And I'm going to say, well, go ahead and read it because that's complete opposite of what I did, and what I did worked for me.
right.
Right.
And it's cool to see it from my perspective too, because you and I are obviously completely different people, and I've never struggled personally with like, I mean, I've been overweight at times in my life, but it's never been something that I've had to like really work hard to fix, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't have that experience individually, but as a coach who's worked with like hundreds of people now, I've have enough of those anecdotal experience from other people to know that like, okay, yeah, it's not just as black and white as some of the science or the literature may seem, which most of it isn't black and white anyway. It's up to interpretation no matter what you do. And like you said, it's kind of like how you interpret and how you present numbers really to fit your bias that already exists. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's kind of like figuring out, like you said, either you can disagree and have different viewpoints, but at the end of the day, the end goal and the intention is always the same, right? It's to help whoever needs the help to do something to make an actual change that betters them. And that could look, it's going to look 100% different from person A to person B.
Right.
So.
Right. I've been, you know, I've been grinding at this for years, like trying to figure out what works for me. And like, I finally found it, which is like what sparked this. Like, I want to help everybody. And so this is like a way that I can do that. And we'll see how it goes. I know you're trying to help people, so that's what we're here for. But I want to touch back on something you just said. I want to get into like what people can expect to hear in this, because like this is a disagreement show. What people can expect to see or expect to hear, and especially John just said this about. He said, you know, I've never gone through this myself, and that's something that I always throw that in space. Like, you've never gone through this. He can have, from my perspective, he can have 10 million clients that were overweight, that he either helps them lose weight, or maybe they lose weight and gain weight back. Like, that happens. Maybe he helps people completely change their life, whatever. But it doesn't matter if that's his client. Like, it's a dark hole that the person who's, you know, if you're trying to lose weight, it can just consume you. It can be the only thing you can think about for 6 weeks at a time, or a year at a time, or 15 years at a time for some people. And it's just what your goal, like, it's just like every day it's all consuming. And so like I give him the credit on, I've worked with this. I've seen this. He's seen the numbers. He's seen more numbers than me. I've seen one person go through this. And then, you know, other like family members or friends that I've talked to, but I'll give him pushback on that, because, hey, you can say that, but you've never been where I've been. And you've never felt what I felt all those years when I'm trying to lose weight. So that's going to be one of our major discussions throughout the course of this channel. I don't know if you have anything you want to say on that, or if you want me to go through some more things.
I think it's important to say that what Will has done and how he's gotten there and how he plans to like hold on to that is through a method that, I mean, it sparked this whole disagreement in the beginning because through like just his own experience, through the research and like the books and science that he's had me try and like look into, I've just from the very get-go been like, no, that's stupid. Like, I don't think that that's the way that anybody should do something. It's too extreme, or it can create more problems than it is helpful. So there's a lot of stuff that can be argued either way. You know what I mean? So
But to me, it's just like, it's not extreme. It's not extreme. We need to figure out what we need to do to get everybody to be healthy. Extreme to me is eating food that comes out of a box, for 90% of our calories that we're intaking. Like, to me, that's extreme. Why aren't we trying to figure that out? And that's something that me and John would agree on as part of that. But
right, stuff like that comes up that it's like, yeah, I that can be incorporated into the way that I do it too. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's all the way that you look, like just like you said with the scientific, with the numbers and the data. It's how you portray it and it's how you perceive it, right? So like you did say, something could be quote unquote extreme for one person and that not have like any type of detrimental effects for somebody else. You know what I mean? It's all individual.
right.
So
Right. And that comes to like probably our biggest disagreement, and maybe the biggest disagreement of like society in general. Maybe this is like, I don't know, maybe this like within the industry, maybe it's not even a disagreement because I'm on one side and it seems like the whole industry's on the other side right now. But we're going to debate over and over again, calories in versus calories out. That's going to be, I mean, we could probably make that the name of the show, like
the whole series,
calories
right?
in versus
That's what it all
calories
comes down
out
to.
podcast or YouTube show. John, you can, I'll let you go and just like say what you think, and everybody just knows I disagree with what he's about to say.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, this is coming from, like, it stems from my personal experience. Again, I will reiterate to start off with that I've never had an issue with weight in general. So me following, just watching my calories and making sure that I'm controlling my level of intake has always led to weight loss and fat loss. And that's so initially right off the bat, that's always been the, like, this shit works. You know what I mean? Like, this is the truth. And then as I've gotten more into like the actual research and the literature and all the studies that compare different types of diets, from what we have seen, most of it seems to be like, if you equate calories, it doesn't matter, one, where the food comes from or what type of diet you're doing, whether that be high carb, low carb, some type of keto diet, whatever it may be, or even if you're doing like a time restricted feeding window, the data that we have tends to show that calories are, it's what it comes down to. At the end of the day, if you're burning more than you're taking in, you're going to lose weight, and vice versa. And that's kind of like what's been known as like the fundamental truth of like whatever success or failures that you have in terms of your diets, right? And so like it can get extreme at some points, but there's the people that will just be like, oh, you can't lose weight. Well, literally your problem is you're eating too many calories, which I agree with, don't get me wrong. But I'm also on the side of like, there's more to it than that, right? It's not just like, it's not yin and yang, one or the other. I do think that's what it boils down to in the end, for sure. And that if you're doing all things correctly and you're monitoring calories in versus calories out, you've got the control. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I appreciate you giving that explanation. I 100% disagree with you. There's like, I think that I polled some of my friends who know a little bit about nutrition and asked, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how truthful is this sentence? 1 being not at all and 10 being absolute. It doesn't, in this sentence was, it doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you're eating, or what your workout plan is. But at the end of the day, it's just, weight loss comes down to calories in versus calories out. John answered 10. I answered 1.01, with the 0.1 being a 1 in 1,000 chance that I'm wrong. But I'm not.
Wait, why wouldn't you say 0.01?
I mean, Maybe I'm wrong.
You're that.
Maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, there's a 1 in 1,000 chance I'm wrong.
Right.
We
But
figured out what
but most
calories
other
were
people,
100 years ago, and obesity has done nothing but go up since then. And all we've done is focus on calories since then.
and I think
Because
that's a caveat too that needs to be said, is that the majority of the time, I think when you and I argue, it can get a little bit clouded because I will shift my opinion in some aspects if we're shifting the like population that we're talking about to strictly obese people. You know what I mean? At that point, I will still say that I think, like you said, what it boils down to at the end of the day, if we want to see like the bottom line, it's if whatever problem gets fixed in that population, it's going to be that calories in versus calories out equation is the reason that weight loss happens or whatever.
hey, let
Go
me
ahead.
switch something real quick. So that point 0.01, let me make that a 0.02 because you just ignited my brain here. You can lose weight calories in versus calories out, but it's going to be people like John Knoll who are able to do it, who were high school lacrosse players. And did you play baseball in high school? Who are like pretty good athletes. You used to play basketball in college, like,
Right.
intramurals and stuff, like pretty good athletes.
Right. Never been
pretty muscular
overweight.
frame, drinks one too many natty lights every weekend, and
in
puts on
college,
8
for
pounds.
sure.
And then you count calories for 2 months, and you go back from being 178 pounds to being 170 pounds, and
Right.
you're happy with your body again. I see that time and time again. People being like, "Oh, here's my before and after pictures." Not you. You've never posted before and after, but like people similar to that, and it's like, "Oh, all I had to do is count calories." I guarantee you, and like that's a thing. Like you said, you're shifting what you think about, and so like I'm giving you that. That's I will give you that, like 100%. But the people who actually need to lose a lot of weight, I don't think it gets done by calorie counting. If you've lost a lot of weight by calorie counting and kept it off, and you're watching this right now, tell me I'm wrong in the comments below, because it's not a thing. I don't think obese people do it.
Well, that is a big point that actually is shown in the literature, and it's one of those things that's, I think the way that they measure it is somewhat subjective, so it's like take it for what it's worth. But the biggest takeaway for the most part is that you're right. Weight loss has been historically shown to be like unsuccessful for most people because they may initially lose it, but I don't know what the number is. 90% of the people are going to gain it right back. And so that's where I've always been. And this is, if any of my clients out there are listening, they know this and they can attest to this, but it's like just because calories in or calories out is the reason that the weight shifts doesn't mean that the manner that you go about it is just tracking your macros or tracking your calories. You know what I mean? There are behavioral changes and habitual like shifts within your life that lead to that as a byproduct. You know what I mean? But it still comes down to that at the end of the day. And that's where Will and I really disagree, because I think from what I've gathered over the past couple of years is his mindset is if you do certain things, then calories don't matter at all. Right? Well, yeah, we'll see. I guess I shouldn't have leaked that out, but yeah, I'm there. I will agree with you that you're right. The majority of the people that have successfully lost weight have never had an issue with their weight to begin with. So it's a greater issue, like you said, for, I don't want to say for the world, but at least for like the country where so many of us are like struggling with that issue. It's like,
right,
there needs to be some type of consensus or some type of action that we can all fairly agree on so that that problem as a whole gets fixed, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? Whatever it may be.
Like pounding our heads against the wall, telling people it's calories in versus calories out, it makes people feel bad. First of all, like all it is
then you feel like a failure.
Calories out. Like I've cried myself to sleep thinking like, well, it's not fair. First of all, why is everybody else's calories out higher than mine? When I'm running marathons, I ran a marathon at 235 pounds, trying to lose weight. Like if I can run 26 miles in a day, why can't I'm 6 foot? Why can't I be 6 foot 175?
Right. Write that down as a different, that can be a topic for a different show.
Yeah.
Where you've been able to do that and it not equal weight loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And why I think what was going on there. Because I do have theories.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about it. And then also like when I finally had my breakthrough, I was running for like the first half of it, but then like I was training for a race, but then the second half of it, I wasn't working out at all. I just figured it out. I just figured it out. Anyway, you're going to hear a lot about that. You're also going to hear like general like health discussions. Like one of the bigger ones that we'll have is like, I think you need to fix everything at once, and that's part of like why I think the calories don't matter as much. John will tell his clients or anybody like, if you are used to drinking 6 Cokes a day, switching to Diet Coke or whatever, like I'm just using that for as an example. I'm not sure what your clients drink. But like switching to Diet Coke is a good option because you're going to lose that 160 or 120 or whatever calories per can of Coke.
Right.
And I think that's nonsense. That's like,
right. That's 100% what I would say would be a viable first choice switch because it's easy, right? Why would you not eliminate something that tastes basically the exact same anyway, has never been proven to be harmful for your body, at least in the dosages that we intake it in. Even 10 Cokes a day isn't going to kill you because the aspartame that's in there or whatever. But 1,000 extra calories from liquid sugar is going to lead you to a much sooner death than if you just cut that out. You know what I mean?
Well, we agree that person shouldn't be drinking six or 10 Cokes a day, right?
Right, but yes, but I
grew up drinking four Mountain Dews a day, and maybe that's what put me in the position that I'm in. But
I do still think that it's much better, or I think it would be an easier and a better approach to, instead of saying don't drink any soda or pop, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, we're in Pittsburgh, so we're going to call it pop.
Right, we'll call it pop. Yeah. I think it's a better choice to, instead of just saying quit it cold turkey, like don't even think about the stuff, you cannot have it anymore, versus saying still drink it, just maybe even do 3 diets and 2 regulars a day. You know what I mean? Start slow, make small changes that will compound over time, and that kind of builds the habits that will get you there.
So I want to do one last thing on this one, like to set up the channel.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, and then I'll also ask me. I didn't ask you this before we started recording here, so I just I have my answer, but I want to ask.
That's bullshit.
You, what's that?
Why are you preparing ahead of time, leaving me out to dry?
I mean, you should have like this is your thing. You should have this.
Okay, yeah.
So if somebody's unhealthy right now, let's say there's a man who's 5'10", 300 pounds, doesn't check his diet at all. He just went to his PCP and they said like, dude, you need to get your shit under control. That person comes to you and says, John, I can't just change my whole life right now. I need to start taking steps. What's the first step that person should take to get their health under control? One piece of advice. What's the first step for you?
Honestly, probably shift some of the responsibility of that to somebody else. You know what I mean? Get a coach or a trainer, or even just a friend that can try and keep a subjective eye on some of the variables that you would even think about adjusting yourself. Obviously, the main ones are going to be like changing your diet and exercising, right? Those 2 things. But there's other things that matter more, and especially, I wouldn't say more, but matter just as much. And somebody who does this, I would say like it can be overwhelming to try and change all those things on your own, to try and make sure you're sleeping adequately, drinking enough water, resting, and like you said, eating enough or a right amount of food. It's a hard thing to do on your own. So I think the number one thing would be ask for help. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, I'm all about nutrition, and I think that's super important. But the very first thing that I would tell someone they need to do is start lifting weights. It's super important for one, if the answer is calories in, calories out, that's going to burn calories. It's going to add muscle, which is going to raise your basal metabolic rate, right? Is that the right way to say that? So you're going to be not only burning calories while you're working out, but you're going to be burning more calories like throughout the day in general. It's also like just super healthy for you. It's like really good for your bone density and other things it's going to help like prevent other diseases. So if anybody came to me and said like, what's the first thing I can do? Like I'm out of shape, like something it's not start doing cardio. It's not start eating, boneless, skinless chicken breast that's grilled. Don't start eating salads. Like, just start lifting 4 days a week. Find a way, whether it's at a gym or if you need to find a trainer to help you do that. I think most people, when they're out of shape, the first thing that they want to do is start like running or doing cardio. And there's certainly a place for that in this world, but I think the first thing that we need to do is make sure that we have a little bit of muscle in our bodies, and lifting also. Like, if you're going through like a good routine, it's like so healthy for your mind to, I bench press 105 pounds this week, and I did it again the next week and the next week, and I got to the point where I can like raise it. You're getting yourself into a schedule, which is going to be good for you. You're also now seeing positive results from something, which is going to be even better for your mind. Like, and it's just like, there's so much to it. It's just like, it'd just be so helpful for everybody. I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. And obviously, I think the reason you thought I was going to say that is because, I mean, I've been working as a personal trainer for so long, right? And I'm a bodybuilder too, technically. So what I do is lift. But I do think it should be stated that, I mean, I do agree with that. That needs to be part of the first initial implementation. But I think using the word, I think you did just say lift, right? That's what people need to do.
Yeah, weight train.
Right. I think the verbiage makes a difference, because if you just say resistance train, I think it's a little bit more inclusive than saying like you need to go lift, because especially a guy who's like that out of shape or that big, you know what I mean? Most people are intimidated to go to the gym or something, but to resistance train doesn't mean you have to go to the gym and pick up a barbell. It can literally be using your own body weight as resistance, you know what I mean? But
I get that, but I'm not going to feel bad for somebody. Like, here's the thing. I'm not comfortable speaking in front of a camera. I've never edited a video before in my life. I'm going to have to edit a video today. Like, I'm not comfortable doing that. Like, you only have one life, and you need to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. So if you're afraid to go into the gym, the best thing that you can do for yourself is go into the gym. If you're afraid to go into the weight room, the best thing you can do is go into the weight room. If you're afraid to do squats inside of the squat rack, because that's where all the big guys are, you should walk over to one of the big guys and say, can you show me how to do that? Get out of your comfort zone. Like, that's living life. Like, that's like, you're going to get so much out of that. Like, when I'm not even talking about the lifting now, like you're just going to get so much out of that from pushing yourself.
I think you're being hypocritical now, though, because you're saying that from a standpoint of somebody who's always been, at least since I've known you, been super, super confident. I've never known you to be scared to do anything.
Since you've known me, I guess.
Right. I mean, that. What else? How could I base off of anything before that?
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you that, but at the same time, I'm not super confident in talking in front of a camera. I talked to you before this. I was nervous as hell coming into this. I think I stumbled over the intro, and like we just kept going. Like, you gotta get out of your comfort zone.
No,
like, you don't.
I don't disagree with that.
You can live your life just like not getting out of your comfort zone, and then what are you gonna have to show for it?
Right.
So that's kind of like, this is like.
No, I agree. And I've definitely shifted my perspective on that too. Because at the beginning, honestly, when I first learned about the whole like calories in, calories out thing, it was always like balance, right? You've got to find like the happy medium and everything. Like, you can have some junk food, if you want to call it that, as long as it's in moderation, and like everything in your life should be balanced. But I have gotten to the point now where it's kind of like along the lines of your same thinking, where you're never going to do anything great in your life. Like, let's just be honest, if everything's balanced, like you have to be extreme with some things. Like, you have to like you said, step out of your comfort zone, work freaking hard at some things. And if you don't, the people who don't care about balance they're gonna surpass you, you know what I mean? Because yeah, it's a good thing to strive for the most part, but like what the hell else do you get out of that besides a balanced life? Like, you're not gonna get anything amazing out of that. And
right.
YOLO, right? Right. And
you're not going to get anywhere.
If it's just
you're not going to do that great thing that you've always wanted to do if you don't step out of your comfort zone. So for me, that's starting this YouTube channel. For John, that was quitting his job to become a trainer and to work out and try to do you can probably talk about your shows, but like, he needed to do it. He needed to switch his life up, and he stepped outside of his comfort zone and did it.
And yeah, nobody's saying that it's not easy, but like, nothing will change unless you change, you know what I mean? Like, it's that simple. So who cares if it's just the two of us idiots talking about it? If, like you said, if it helps one person be like, even if they start thinking about things a little bit more and that leads them to some type of shift in their life, then we did something cool. You know what I mean? We helped the one person, and like, what else better is there in life than to help somebody else improve theirs? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I do what I do.
100% agree. And I appreciate you for that. All right. Well, let's wrap it up there then. If you liked the things that we were discussing today, we didn't get too heated, but it's going to happen. Like we're trying to be nice to each other today, just to like, just to kind of get it started and let you guys know what we're going to be talking about. But if you like what you heard, please subscribe and come back. I think we're going to try to do this weekly. We're still trying to get our feet under us and figure out how this is going to work. So the plan is to come back next week and go from there. And we'll kind of try to have a topic to start off with, and then just see how the ball rolls and see what we can get into.
Yep.
All right, John, thanks for joining me. I'll see you again next week.
Sure. I'll be texting you soon here, arguing about something.
Yep.